Hello, everybody. Welcome to Political Football. My name is Dave. I'm here with Scott. And Clev is here this week. We commit to come back for one more week here this season, as this is one of the biggest shows of the year. I should say at least one of the best shows of the year. It's the season prediction review show, where we take a look at our predictions from the day before the season started to see just how accurate
Do we have to do this?
We do.
Sorry.
We do. Clev, how you doing?
So I'm not Catholic, but I gave up stuff for Lent and instant regret. Because Lent is like, I'm thinking Lent was like a week.
40 days.
It's actually like March 5th. Yeah. So I gave up sugar, rice, and sugar, rice, and bread. And I love croissants. Like that's like my go-to for everything. Yeah. Even the grilled cheese, I'll do it on a croissant. So jonesing a little bit, but I'm all right. I'm here.
If you gave up steak and cheese with the rest of those, I would starve. I'd have nothing left to eat.
Yeah, I stopped eating meat in 1990, so I think I'm good there. Cheese, I've never been able to shake cheese. It's like a really bad batch of cocaine, allegedly. So, because cheese goes into so many things, right? So I've tried to give up cheese for years, and it just doesn't happen for me.
Jim Irsay trying to give Cleve a block of cheddar. Hey man, I got this for you. Scott, how are you?
I am doing good.
Good. I'm glad to hear it. Okay,
how are you?
I'm good. I'm tired. The jump forward time change wrecks me. Like
1 hour?
1 hour going forward, and I think because I'm a night owl.
Yeah.
So like I don't go to bed at 3 o'clock in the morning now. Then I need to get up at 7:30, but it feels like 4:30, and it's just wild. The fall back, no problem, but just right away. The jump forward, it was like coming home from Japan. I had no idea what time it was. I still don't.
Wow. Weren't they doing away with this or something like that? Wasn't that the talk? Like they were getting off the.
They always talk about getting rid of this, but there are so many pros and cons to each time period that totally accepting the cons for one pisses off too many people. So like,
yeah, but it's like for the farmers, right?
Originally, but now, like because we've structured our society around farming hours, which is ridiculous, but that's the way that it is. Like if we never changed the time, then I think in November it would be dark to like 10 in the morning or something, if I have that correct. There's just there's pros and cons each way. You got to take, so the only good compromise is to do this, in my opinion. But yeah, this jump forward is brutal.
For me, I see those places on TikTok. They look beautiful, where the sun never sets or whatever. So like you can get like 3 o'clock in the morning and it's like bright sunlight. That would mess me up because I'm bioengineered to go to sleep at those hours for the most part. But I used to work when I worked for the Postal Service. I used to work off hours, like overnight. So my lunch time was like 4 o'clock in the morning. And then I would get up on my days off at 4 o'clock in the morning eating a cheesesteak. Brutal.
Good thing it wasn't Lent then. Okay. So for those of you who might be new to the show, we on the day before the season, every year we go through predict who we think will win a number of categories such as MVP, most rushing yards, Super Bowl matchup, that sort of thing. This episode is about reviewing those predictions for the 2024 season. Cleve, real quick, who do you think was the most accurate predictor here in political football before we even get started?
I would say me.
The answer is actually none of us. The answer is Liam. The 12-year-old dusted us, and he's going to show up in a couple of these clips. Not him, but his predictions are going to show up in a couple of these clips because he had a couple good takes here. So here we go. We're going to get started here. First up was MVP. Let me see here. Hang on. Producer show during the show. Okay, here we go. MVP. Scott, who do you think will win MVP for the 2024 NFL season?
I'm going Patrick Mahomes.
He is the betting favorite at plus 500. What's your reasoning for going with Mahomes?
I just think that when you add Xavier Worthy runs 4-2-1, you add Hollywood Brown, it's pretty obvious that you want to stretch the field. You want to get back to the Mahomes that was doing, that was making magic happen with Tyreek Hill.
Mm-hmm. They didn't mention Rashee Rice. It's, entering his second year. And Clev, who do you think will win MVP this year? Aaron Rodgers. So I like Aaron Rodgers as a prediction because it goes to a quarterback with good stats on a team that wins lots of games. And I think that will apply to Aaron Rodgers this year. We also have Patrick Mahomes. Travis Kelce is a year older, and it's probably his last season. But as Scott said, the additions of Hollywood Brown, Xavier Worthy, and Rashee Rice coming back.
And the fact that they traded up for Worthy. It's like,
yes,
go ahead and just walk up to me and kick me in the balls with your intentions kind of thing, right? Like they're intending to challenge teams vertically.
Liam in the chat said he thinks Lamar is going to go back-to-back for MVP. This would be his third. And honestly, I think Lamar is a fine pick. Okay, so first and foremost, I do think that of those predictions, Lamar was the best because Lamar was the MVP this year. The actual winner was Josh Allen, but I ain't hearing it. Lamar Jackson actually won, so I'm giving that one to Liam. That's a win for Liam there. But yeah,
I was searching for a bag.
Yeah,
I was searching for a bag to put over my head to stifle myself out in front of you guys, like a plastic bag. I was just going to breathe into it and just stifle myself out. I don't know what I was thinking saying.
And, when I was making the clip, I was like, I could take out the part where I agree that Aaron Rodgers is a good pick and just leave Clev out to dry here. But I was like, I couldn't do that. I couldn't do that to him.
It's a fine pick.
Now, Aaron Rodgers, of course, was a disastrous pick, but honestly, Scott, so was Patrick Mahomes.
It really was. Yeah. He wasn't close. He wasn't even close to the conversation.
I mean, not at all. In fact, from a fantasy perspective, which if you're going to win MVP, you're going to have good fantasy stats.
Yeah.
Right. Patrick Mahomes has been asked for 2 seasons.
Yeah, that was the reasoning why I thought the vertical, you know what I mean? But I mean, Burrow might have the best argument for MVP because he put up ridiculous numbers.
Mm-hmm.
But like you said,
the record stunk.
Got to win the games.
And I'm with you. I think Lamar. I thought Lamar had a better season than Allen did. Whatever.
Yeah. So that was one where I'm giving Liam credit for being right on that one because I really do think Lamar was the MVP this season. Had Lamar not won last season, I think they give it to Lamar this season, no question. So here at Political Football, we don't need to consider those shenanigans. In our minds, Lamar Jackson is the winner. Offensive Player of the Year. I do not have a clip for this one. The winner, of course, is Saquon Barkley, running for over 2,000 yards. I said Breece Hall, Clev. So you and I were just really high on the Jets.
Yeah, we were
just really high.
Wow. There you go.
Scott said Tyreek Hill.
Yeah, maybe I was really high.
Wow.
Yeah. I don't know what happened to Tyreek. Like, did he fall off? I mean, I know Tua was out for a while, but even when Tua was back, Tyreek didn't really do much.
Was this the year that he got pulled over out of his sports car and thrown to the concrete? Was it?
Yes, that was week 1 this year.
Okay.
Yeah.
So maybe that's what affected him. Sunburn from the concrete.
Yeah, maybe something like that. Clev, you said Anthony Richardson.
Man, whatever you guys brought for the class, I was definitely in on it.
Yeah, that I would say ended up not being correct at all. In fact, Anthony Richardson had such a bad season. He is now in the Bryce Young position going into this year. And Bryce Young has a stable job going into the next season.
Yeah.
And he said he quit. He said he was tired.
Yeah. Pulled him out of the game because he was.
That was god awful.
Yeah, because he was tired. I do have a clip here for Defensive Player of the Year. And again, sorry guys, I'm not used to flipping over to the clips here, but here we go. Defensive Player of the Year. Defensive Player of the Year. Scott, I'm wondering if we have the same person.
I landed on Micah Parsons, and I don't know what to think of that, but I do think that he's going to have every opportunity to get tons of pass rush snaps. We'll see.
My defensive player of the year selection is Aiden Hutchinson at
Ooh.
16-1. So this is all based off something that Scott said last week.
Oh no.
Yeah, which means that I'm probably in trouble. But Scott last week informed. Yeah, you're welcome. Scott informed me that the Lions made some upgrades to their secondary that made them go from total puke garbage to embarrassing but tolerable. And
that is not what I said.
Yes, no, you didn't say that. You said you thought they'd be pretty good. So last year, Hutch had 11.5 sacks, despite having a secondary that literally could not cover anything. What's he going to get with an extra half a beat?
A lot more than 11.5.
Yeah. The Lions are going to be good. They're going to win a lot of games. He's going to be the best player in that defense. I think he's going to get 17, 18 sacks this year.
He can't.
That was it. I was on it. I mean, he was going to get 20 sacks this year. That was it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's
Micah Parsons.
Cleveland's a noted Micah Parsons hater.
Yeah.
What?
Penn State's Micah Parsons.
Thank you.
You know how Dave feels about Penn State. Why did you say that? Why did you say that?
I teed it up.
Go ahead, Dave. Rail. Go ahead, rail.
Yeah, Cleve, you had a good Cleve. You said Myles Garrett. So
yeah, that's who I said.
Yeah, which would have been perfectly fine. I think Aiden Hutchinson wins this award if he doesn't get hurt. I'm very confident in that. I think my 17-18 sack prediction. And he got hurt in week 7.
Yeah,
he was leading the league in sacks. Through. I think he walks away with this award.
I do too.
The actual winner was Cleve's prediction last year, Patrick Surtain II. Cleve, you were 1 year too early.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you half credit for that, for predicting Patrick Surtain to be Defensive Player of the Year in 2023. I mean, that's kind of sick. I'm
dude special, man. Dude special.
Yeah, so I'm giving myself half credit for that one too, because sort of like Lamar, I do think that Aiden Hutchinson was the correct pick for this and did not win due to injury. I don't think there's any question. I mean, the Broncos were at 7 seed in the AFC. The Lions had the bye in the NFC. Hutch wins this award if he stays healthy. Offensive Rookie of the Year. We have 2 clips. One clip where Scott and I look a certain way, and another clip where Cleve looks pretty good. Are you ready?
No. Go.
Fair enough. Here we go. Caleb Williams at plus 130. I mean, this is his award to lose. I don't really see a scenario in which he doesn't win this award, because I don't see a scenario in which he is bad and the Bears don't win more games than people expect.
Wow.
Which is why he's plus 130. He's like the heavy favorite. Like, it's not going on a limb. It's just
what's Jaden Daniels? What's his number?
The next one further down were like plus 600, plus 700. I'm sure it was Daniels, Knicks, the quarterbacks that'll be starting.
Yeah. But I mean, I think if there is a player out there who can unseat him for Rookie of the Year, it's Daniels, simply because of the running. So that was the thing. It was either Daniels or Caleb for me, and I landed on Caleb for just because he was a chalk. But I think Daniels can give him a run.
So Scott, exactly right on point with Daniels giving him a run, and that's why betting the chalk is so dangerous. Scott could have got 6-1 on Jaden Daniels right there. But now we have Cleve's prediction, which wasn't right, but I think was very sharp. Cleve, who do you have winning Offensive Rookie of the Year?
Malik Neighbors. He's going to save the Giants. He's going to save their season because it's dog shit right now.
Well, that's the thing, is that Malik Neighbors could have a monster season on a 4-win team and not win this award just because of that.
If Neighbors goes for like 1,200 yards or so and scores 8 touchdowns or so, he probably should win it over any of these quarterbacks. Not when the Bears go 9-8 and make the playoffs. I don't know that that's happening.
I don't. Yeah,
I think if any non-quarterback were going to win this award, I think Malik Neighbors is the most likely. So
wow.
That's good, Cleve.
Yeah.
Well done.
Yeah, very good, Cleve. I mean, first of all, props to Scott for calling out Jaden Daniels being the next most likely to win.
Dude.
That was really good.
On.
Because everybody was high on Jaden Daniels. Nobody was high on the Commanders like that. Cleve calling out Neighbors and not Harrison. Really sharp. And then I was right about the scenario in which Neighbors doesn't win it. I just had the wrong quarterback leading his team to the playoffs. Right? Neighbors didn't win because Jaden Daniels won those games.
Yeah, that was like the year with the previous 1 and 2, right? With the kid in Arizona, what's his face?
Kyler?
No, I'm sorry, not Arizona. Texans.
Oh, Bryce
remember
Young
that year?
Stroud.
Yeah. That year. So that was the year previous, right, to these guys?
Yes. It was the year before. Yeah. So I think that taking the second quarterback off the board to win Offensive Rookie of the Year is sharp. I will not be doing that this year if Shador is the second quarterback off the board.
I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it in any scenario because
okay, so
save it for the draft show, Scott.
Scott's prediction for the 2025 Offensive Rookie of the Year is Ashton Jeanty. Doesn't matter where he goes.
It depends on where the receivers end up.
Scatterbo.
Yeah.
Yeah, USFL Player of the Year. I'm with you.
Oh boy. Come on.
Wow. Really? Wow.
He jumps, he has a 40-inch vert, but we're running a 40. I'm telling you, it's suspect. If he shows runs a 4.6, I'm going to be very concerned.
You ever see the Longest Yard, like the remake with Adam Sandler playing?
Yeah.
Wow, Dave, do you watch anything? Man.
Not a lot of Adam Sandler movies. Most of his stuff is garbage.
Oh my.
Well, well, there's a scene. The reason I'm bringing it up. There's a scene where Stone Cold Steve Austin plays on the team that's playing against them. He's playing with the guards, and he runs the football and he throws it to Nelly and says, "That's the way a white man runs the football." And I always love that take. So I love how the kid Scatterable runs the ball.
Yeah,
it's great.
Yeah, I mean, if his game were to translate to the NFL, it would be great. But I think he's like, I just think it's going to. But if it did, that would be fun. But I think Offensive Rookie of the Year was one of our strongest categories, even though none of us got it exactly right. We were all kind of in and around where it should be. Now for one of my favorite predictions of last year, Defensive Rookie of the Year. Let me get this all set up here. Here we go. Liam says Quinion Mitchell, Defensive Player of the Year, a defensive back for the Philadelphia Eagles. Liam, that's almost right. I took a different rookie defensive back for the Philadelphia Eagles. I took Cooper DeJean, 35-1.
You did not.
I did.
Oh my God.
For 5 units.
You might as well have just lit it on fire, pal.
I mean, I don't know what to tell you about most of these bets. Tell you what, though. I'll tell you what, Scott. If this bet hits, you have to fight Cleve.
No. Well, how? Okay. What's the pathway for him to even get there?
Okay. The Philadelphia Eagles secondary last year was beyond ass. I mean, so the Eagles are going to be good this year. They're going to bounce back, win a bunch of games. Cooper DeJean is a good football player. He'll be the first white corner to start since Jason Sehorn in 2002. That will help him get noticed and attention. So close. The problem is it all came up in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, and he's a safety. But that's my point. Like safeties don't produce stats at a crazy level. And even when they do, see Kirby Joseph, it almost doesn't matter. You know?
Yeah, now to be fair, I did take him at 35-1 because I thought it was a great bet.
Yeah.
But in general, Liam, I think, was very close. So the winner of this award was Jared Verse from the Rams, this very deserved winner. Him or Braden Fisk, either of the two defensive linemen that they drafted. were very deserving winners. But Quinion Mitchell was the best rookie corner.
Yes.
This
Very
year.
good call, Liam.
Yeah, I thought that was really sharp. Now, Clev said Laiatu Latu, who I think got hurt for the Colts. And then Scott said Dallas Turner. Scott, I don't remember Dallas Turner playing for the Vikings.
I don't know what happened. Minnesota traded up for him.
Yeah.
And he literally did next to nothing as a rookie. Really weird. Weird year.
Yeah, extremely strange. So I give Liam half credit for that one. And again, I think the Cooper DeJean pick with the entire season having played out 35-1 was a ridiculous number.
Yep.
It should have been way lower. It just took the Super Bowl for that to occur. But now looking back, you're like, oh yeah, no, I can see that. That makes sense and all that. So I did like that one. The next couple here we don't have clips for. Starting with Coach of the Year. You said Brian Daboll of the Giants.
God, it was the Malik Neighbors thing trying to marry that together. So yeah, dog shit.
That wasn't your best prediction.
That was bad.
Scott, you and I had the same prediction. Do you remember who it was?
No.
It was Shane Steichen.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, so
I think that's possibly worse than Cleve's prediction.
I do too, because Brian Daboll has at least made the playoffs as a coach before.
Yeah.
Shane Steichen took Anthony Richardson and drove him 30 feet into the ground. So, yeah, I actually think ours was worse. The winner was Kevin O'Connell of the Vikings, which I think is good. They won 97 games with Sam Darnold.
Yeah.
I mean, no one saw that though. No one saw that.
Yeah. So that was I think that was really, really good there. Comeback player of the year. We all had Aaron Rodgers because of course we did, because he blew out his Achilles first drive of the first snap last season, coming back. I mean, Clev thought he'd be MVP. So of course he's gonna come back with 12 to 13 games, be comeback player of the year. Nope, it was Joe Burrow.
Wow.
Yeah.
And remember, they did specify now that you have to come back from injury. You can't come back from being a dust ball to being good.
Or dead.
Or dead, in Damar Hamlin's case. So you do have to have been injured to come back and had a good season. You can't just be have been horrible and then bounce back. So we did have Joe Burrow for that one. I don't think that prediction was bad. I don't see any way that anybody should have predicted anything other than Aaron Rodgers to win the award.
I agree.
Yep.
NFL passing yards leader. We do have a clip for this one. Cleve, what quarterback will lead the NFL in passing yardage?
Mahomes.
Yep.
Is that yours too, Scott?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just until he's not playing, you can't leave him out of the conversation.
So last year it was Dak. It's not always Mahomes. I think Mahomes is a fine pick. He is the favorite, followed by Joe Burrow and CJ Stroud. I did not take Patrick Mahomes. Scott, would you care to guess who I took? You're gonna laugh at this. I'm giving somebody their flowers.
Jordan Love, baby.
Wow.
I think the Packers are going to be forced to throw. They have all sorts of wide receivers and tight ends that they can throw to. I think they're going to be in a lot of close games in the division.
That would be wild. It's a wild ride for him, man.
At 18-1, Jordan Love to lead in passing yardage.
Wow. This is brutal. It's like a roast. This is brutal.
This is really I'm uncomfortable.
The main thing I'm taking away. Yeah, there's two things to take away from this. One is that betting on the favorites are sucker bets.
Yes.
Yep.
I think next year when I do this, I will on purpose not take any favorite in any category simply because of this. Aaron Rodgers, no chance. Caleb Williams, no chance. Right? Mahomes to lead the league in passing after adding a wide receiver who runs the 40-yard dash in negative seconds. Still didn't happen.
Fool's gold, man. All fool's gold, bro.
Yeah.
And then everything I said about Jordan Love was right, except the Packers to run the ball.
Yeah.
Josh Jacobs wasn't dust.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I think if Josh Jacobs was terrible, they would have had a much better chance of hitting because they had to struggle with the Lions, struggle with the Vikings, but Jacobs was okay. So Jordan didn't hit. The winner, of course, was Joe Burrow.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Most passing touchdowns. My prediction here was so bad, I even put a number on it. Most passing touchdowns.
Yes, you did.
Scott, you said Dak Prescott.
Oh, wow.
I got a feeling this is going to get worse for me as this goes.
I think it's not good.
No, Scott, trust me. Go ahead, Dave. What did
I think Scott's Dak Prescott prediction for most passing TDs is the best out of the three of us.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my God.
That is not good.
I said Patrick Mahomes, and I said he would throw 55 touchdowns this season.
55.
All right, so mine's worse than that.
Yes.
Wow. Ooh, that's okay.
Just over
Mine has to be worse than that.
No big deal.
Clev said Trevor Lawrence.
Wow. Okay. All right.
Clev doesn't even like Trevor Lawrence.
I really said that. Is that written down?
Oh, I didn't
You can show me that paper.
This one. I should have. When I
No,
went back to
don't.
rewatch
Do
it
not.
to do this, I was laughing so hard at the desk at work when you said Trevor Lawrence.
And that's messed up because you guys were Trevor Lawrence guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was.
Trevor Lawrence. I said Trevor Lawrence.
You did. You said Trevor Lawrence to lead the NFL in passing touchdowns.
Wow.
Now, to your credit, I really should have clipped this. You did cite the addition of Brian Thomas Jr. as a reason to be bullish on Trevor Lawrence. So that part was right.
Yes.
Everything else about it was horribly wrong.
And no one had an intervention to talk me off those train tracks.
No, the intervention needed to come on the next one. The next one is the worst collective we did together. This is atrocious. I did clip this one. This was most quarterback rushing yards. My goodness. Most rushing yards by a quarterback. So last year for this category, Clev said Lamar Jackson, which is smart because Lamar Jackson is going to win this every single year until he doesn't. Scott and I both said Anthony Richardson is. And I made fun of Scott for picking a rookie to do this. And then I also took Anthony Richardson. Of course, Lamar Jackson went on and led all QBs in rushing yards, and Clev was right. Clev, who are you going to take this year?
I'm actually flipping it now. I'm on the Anthony Richardson. It's crazy, right? It's crazy, right?
That's who I'm taking again.
Yeah. I really want this kid to have a great season. I really want to see him pop, man. Seriously.
So Lamar Jackson is still in the NFL.
Correct.
And none of us are going to take him to lead QBs in rushes. We are all taking Anthony Richardson.
I'm taking.
Hey, do you guys want to guess who led the NFL rushing for quarterbacks?
Lamar.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
We're contrarian thinkers.
Wow.
First of all, Clev comes up having it right the year before. I tee him up to just say Lamar again. He pivots to Richardson. Let's give him all of us Richardson.
Scott co-signs it. Scott immediately co-signs it. Scott, you're my guy. You're my guy, man. He immediately co-signs it.
I mean, that's the worst that we did. I mean, I literally said what it was going to be. I said Lamar will win this every year. And then
until he doesn't. Yeah.
Then we took a guy who quit because he was tired and got benched for Gardner Minshew twice.
That is brutal. That is absolutely brutal. Wow.
Now, Lamar had 921 rushing yards this year. Clev, who finished in second place with 870.
What? There's a quarterback that had 870 rushing yards?
Yep. Lamar had 921, who had 870.
Was it Kyler?
No, Scott, help him out.
But it's got to be Jaden Daniels, right?
Correct.
Wow.
Yeah. So going back to the offensive rookie of the year, Scott said if there's a player who can do it besides Caleb, it's Jaden Daniels because of the rushing. And here we are. Paul was on it. Paul knew it was Daniels. Yeah, like so again, a lot of these we're kind of right there. We're on the right track, and then we are just horribly, horribly, horribly wrong. Let's do it again. Most rushing yards, just in the entire NFL, most rushing yards. Scott said Breece Hall. I think it's a perfectly fine prediction heading into the season. The Jets just collapsed in total, but I don't think that was an absurd thing to say. Cleve, do you remember your prediction?
Most rushing yards.
Devon Achane.
From the Dolphins?
Yes.
Wow. Didn't he get hurt?
Like for 2 games. He played most of the season.
Miami had a really weird year.
He did. His name will come up again here. But yes, Devon Achane was your guess. My prediction, I took 2 players at 75-1, contingent on one of them getting hurt from the same team. I took Najee Harris and or Jalen Warren. Thinking that if one of them consolidated the backfield, probably through injury, given the way Arthur Smith wants to run the ball, they would lead the league in rushing. They both played 16 games.
Yeah.
And also, combined, they still finished 400 yards behind Saquon Barkley anyways, who, of course, is the winner.
Nobody had that kid.
Yeah. So Saquon making me look really stupid with the don't give big contracts to Asian running backs. Although Saquon's not old yet, he just will be old when this contract is in effect. 2,005 yards. Clev or Scott, whoever answers first, who was second in rushing this year with 1,921 yards?
Was it Derrick Henry?
It was.
Yeah.
So both rushing leaders, older guys, switch teams. Yep. So definitely making me look as bad as possible there. Most rushing touchdowns. One of us got this right. It wasn't me. I said Anthony Richardson.
I don't think it was me either.
It wasn't Cleve. Cleve said Christian McCaffrey, who did not play until week 10 and went out again week 14.
Yeah, he didn't do shit. So Scott,
Scott was right. Scott said Derrick Henry would lead the NFL in rushing touchdowns. It was a 3-way tie. Derrick Henry, Jahmyr Gibbs, and James Cook. All
Cook
three
is
of
the
them
kid on
the Bills.
On the Bills, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
All 3 of them tied with 16 rushing touchdowns this year. Scott said Derrick Henry would have 15.
Wow.
Yeah.
Broken clock.
I think I'm giving full credit to Scott for this one. Scott had a 3-way tie here because David Montgomery got hurt for Jahmyr Gibbs. And for some reason, Josh Allen didn't run for like 9 touchdowns he could have and just gave it to James Cook instead. And I don't know if he's like trying to get him paid or what. But, yeah. So I consider Derrick Henry the actual leader in rushing touchdowns, even though it was a 3-way tie. And again, pretty much right on the number. So Scott with a big check mark on that one. That's the best prediction so far. But it won't be the only one of us hit dead on here. Won't be the next one, though. Most receiving yards for a running back. I actually can't tell who had the worst prediction here.
Oh, no.
They're all so bad. They're all so terrible. I cannot even, comprehend
how Achane shows up, right?
I said Jaleel McLaughlin. Cleve, that's a real person.
Oh my gosh.
I was gonna ask.
He is the 4th string running back on the Denver Broncos.
Mm-hmm.
So way to go, me. Fantastic. Cleve said Alvin Kamara through 2 weeks looked like a genius, but then Alvin Kamara and the Saints when Alvin Kamara and the Saints.
Yeah.
Scott had the best out of all of us, even though this is so horrible. Scott, you said Rashad White.
Yeah, it's embarrassingly bad.
And it's embarrassingly bad because Bucky Irving just put him in the cuck chair by like week 10.
I think by week 4.
Yeah. If you had just said Bucky Irving here, you still would have been wrong. But same idea, same team, same concept. But I think Rashad White was so wrong, it's got to stay wrong. The winner, Devon Achane.
Yep.
So Cleve took it for most rushing yards, but he did lead running back in receiving yards. So I'm actually giving Cleve half credit for the rushing yardage prediction because he had lead receiving yards instead.
Anyone out there, do not bet anything that I say. don't bet your kids' college.
No, that Cooper DeJean bet was good.
Oh yeah,
that 35-1 was good. That's a good number. And I think Jordan Love 18-1 to lead the league in passing was good too. Yeah. So there are some good bets out there, but the reason they're 18-1 and 35-1 is that they don't hit all that often.
Yeah.
Now the next one here we do have a clip for. This is most receptions in the NFL. Let me pull this up here. Most receptions. Here we go. Most receptions. I took CD Lamb.
I did too.
Yeah. He's the Cowboys pass all the time. He's legitimately the only good player on that offense besides Dak Prescott. He's, in my opinion, one of the 3 best receivers in the NFL. He gets open. He plays slot, outside, all levels of the field. To me, CD Lamb is going to lead the NFL in receptions.
It's
Scott,
all lined up for that to happen.
Cleve,
who you got?
Jamar Chase.
Jamar Chase, who does not have a contract. I think the owner of the Bengals has like $72 in the couch cushions. That's about it.
Pass the hat.
Hey, Jamar, will you take quarters?
Jamar, do you take Bitcoin? No, Jamar Chase, I think, is a reasonable thing for this. Joe Burrow plays the entire season. I don't see him being the target dominator that Lamb will be because the Bengals have other good offensive players, whereas the Cowboys don't.
Yes.
The other person I thought would be more sneaky for this was Malik Neighbors. So once again, Cleve right on it, just matches it perfectly. Most receptions to Jamar Chase, which was the answer. Jamar Chase did lead the league in receptions. Joe Burrow did play the entire season. Higgins also put up good numbers. The Bengals were just so good on offense that they could support both of them.
Yeah.
And the Cowboys went to shit, so CD didn't really do much. I don't hate the CD Lamb prediction. I don't think it's a bad prediction. I'm going to predict them again this year.
Yeah.
But Jamar Chase, Cleve, was spot on. And I do want to, shout out myself. Neighbors was in that conversation till like week 12 when they started going to Danny DeVito, Drew Lock, tank for whoever they're tanking for scenario. So Neighbors did kind of pop up there. But Scott, do you regret the CeeDee Lamb prediction at all?
No, you got to pick somebody. I think going into the season, looking at their running back core, if they were going to score points, it was going to be throwing the ball, and I thought Lamb was going to go off.
Cleve, you picked Jamar Chase to lead the league in receptions. We know Jamar Chase is explosive with the ball in his hands. We know he gets targeted downfield. So this means that you definitely, with no doubt, pick Jamar Chase to lead the league in receiving yardage too, right? Mm-hmm. No, you picked Brandon Ayuk.
Do not bet what I say. I know nothing. Nothing.
Yeah. I said CeeDee Lamb. Again, same thing. Explosive with the ball, targeted downfield. Things get the most catches and go get the most yards. Scott, you said Tyreek Hill. You had him as Offensive Player of the Year. He's not going to win that award if he doesn't have those receiving yards. So that makes sense logically. The winner, of course, was Jamar Chase. Yeah. So Man, Cleve, you could have been there, but no, you had to go with the number 4 option on the 49ers.
As a avid roulette player, you never move a winner. You never move a winner.
That is not financial advice.
No, it's not.
You're better off putting your college savings on whoever I say is going to win Defensive Rookie of the Year next year than never moving a winner roulette. Don't do either of those things.
No. Okay, hold up.
But,
there is a reason why. I hit on Red 23, which is not one of my numbers, in Vegas 3 times in a row in one sitting, and I had it stacked to the hilt. So it was a freak occurrence, and on the third roll, I shaved off half my bet, but it still came in pretty good. The guy rolled it 3 times, and I was dead for the night.
Taking profits on that third one was very smart.
Yeah.
That was good gambling protocol right there. That's how you don't go broke, is by taking profits. Speaking of taking profits, the number's going to take any on this next prediction. Most receiving touchdowns. Now, Cleve, you had Jamar Chase, most receptions in a high-powered offense from an all-pro quarterback. So clearly you took Jamar Chase to lead the league in touchdown receptions too, right?
Probably not the way you're reading that.
No, you took CeeDee Lamb, which is a fine prediction.
Wow.
But
this
yeah,
is brutal.
so I'm going here.
This is brutal.
Scott and I each had bad predictions for different reasons. Scott said AJ Brown, which I think is a fine prediction, but the way the Eagles play, I don't think that's ever going to happen. The way they're currently constructed. No, we didn't think Saquon's going to run for 2,000 yards.
Yeah, but you're right, though. Even if he doesn't, it's still going to be really hard because of the rushing touchdowns that Hurts gets. Yeah.
I've done that, Paul. Many a night. Trust me. I just covered everything. Just
I got to win.
For the stars.
Hey, you're not losing if you're getting money back. That's also not true. Yeah, so I said Garrett Wilson would lead the NFL touchdown receptions.
Wow.
Okay.
But you thought Aaron Rodgers was going off. So
yes. So that's how, and they didn't have Devontae Adams, and Aaron Rodgers likes to throw the ball inside the 5-yard line because he likes to run up his own numbers. So it's like, oh, Garrett Wilson got targets inside the 5-yard line. That's how he gets fewer catches than CD, but gets more touchdowns. Was my logic.
Hey, there was a Paul had a thing. Dottle to the Panthers. Jonathan's knee must be cooked. Who is that? I don't know.
Yeah, so Rico Dowdle from the Cowboys just signed with the Panthers. Brooks' knee must be cooked. So Jonathan Brooks tore his ACL in November, his junior year at Texas. Came out anyways, was still the first running back off the board in the draft last year to the Panthers in the mid-second round. Came back late this season for the Panthers. Looked good for 2 games. Tore the same ACL again.
But Dowdle only got signed for 1 year. So
yeah. And they extended Chuba Hubbard.
Yeah.
And they released Miles, the Penn State guy
Sanders.
who sucks.
Sanders.
Yeah, Miles Sanders.
Yeah.
So Jonathan Brooks is cooked for this year.
And he could be, and Paul could be right. He could be cooked.
Yeah. But this year, Jonathan Brooks is a no-go this season for sure. So Jamar Chase had the Triple Crown. Most receptions, most receiving yards, most receiving TDs. I don't know that I'm going to predict the Triple Crown next year, but this does seem to happen more and more often recently. Cooper Kupp did it a couple years ago, and it seems like somebody's always close to it.
Yeah.
So I think we should keep that in mind going forward, that maybe picking like the same person doing 2 of these is the right thing to do. Because that just seems to be how it goes. The good receivers catch the ball down the field as they run up the yards with the catches, big plays, more touchdowns. Seems to be how it goes. All right. Which team earns the number 1 overall pick? This we do have a clip for. Now, 2 years ago, Scott and I said the Seattle Seahawks, so they promptly made the playoffs.
I remember that. That was bad.
So that was one of our worst picks of all time. This is a longer clip because we had a good discussion about this one. Which team earns the number one overall pick? Here we go. Scott, who do you think will earn the number one pick this year?
So I'm waffling between two teams, and one of them is New England, which I don't think is out of the realm at all, right?
Well, that's especially because you're a noted Drake May hater.
That is not true.
Wow.
That's not true. I don't hate Drake May. I think he's got significant things to work on. But the other team is New Orleans.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that. Who are they going to beat? Seriously.
I mean, that's a good question. The offensive line is, I don't want to overstate it, a dumpster fire.
That's fair. It's accurate.
Cleve, what team will earn the number one overall pick?
Arizona.
Wow.
Okay.
Tyler get hurt?
The new Call of Duty drops in like a couple weeks, bro.
Valid point. That's valid.
If the Cardinals end up earning the number one overall pick, I don't think Anthony Richardson winning MVP 4 times this season could get me out of the red. My off-the-wall pick that I got at 26-1 is New Orleans. Right here, Scott. Right here.
This man, that's cool.
Yeah. And that's really bearish for the Saints that both you and I just came in. Like, oh, you know who might suck really bad?
If they win the Super Bowl, the Saints that is, this show's done.
Are we gonna retire it? If that
happens? We're done. We're gonna bury the mics.
So I'm giving Scott and I half a point here. The Saints were the worst team. Yeah. They won 2 games at the start of the year that prevented them from earning the number one overall pick. The Titans did. But damn it, the Saints were the worst team in the league, and Scott and I were on it.
Yeah, half a point is
wasn't their
generous.
Offense just crazy to start the season? Didn't they throw up like 40 points 2 weeks in a row?
They did. Remember they smoked Dallas like 45-7.
Yeah. Rashid Shaheed was just a monster.
Yeah. Shaheed got hurt. Olave got hurt. Alvin Kamara turned back into a pumpkin. Derek Carr, I don't know. It's just Derek Carr, and then got hurt. They went
I forgot he was in the league. Derek Carr. Wow.
Yeah, so I think that the Saints there, half a point each. The Cardinals did not earn the first overall pick, but I thought they were an outside chance at the playoffs, and that was not true either. So the Cardinals were a lot worse than I think Scott and I thought. So Cleve does get credit there for being the lowest of us on the Cardinals, but they were never really threatening for the number one overall pick.
True.
Super Bowl matchup. We got 2 more to go here. We got clips for each of these last 2. These clips are much shorter because they only feature predictions from one of us. So first we have the Super Bowl matchup. Not who wins, just who's going to play. Cleve, what 2 teams will play in the Super Bowl?
All right, Chiefs, Eagles. I think we're going to see Chiefs, Eagles again.
So
do we all have the Eagles in the Super Bowl?
We all predicted the Eagles to go to the Super Bowl.
So there's no chance they're in the Super Bowl. None.
Probably not.
All right. Full credit to Cleve. Full credit to Cleve for absolutely nailing the matchup for the Super Bowl, Chiefs Eagles.
That's hard to do, though. I mean, that's very impressive.
Dude, you know what? And I said this a couple weeks ago. Dave reminded me of something. When the confetti was falling and Hurts stayed out, he stayed on the field. Mm-hmm. I was like, bro, he wants to be back so bad because that game was taken from them. You know, like that, the last minute heroes by in the first matchup, they were close. And I said, if anyone can beat the Chiefs by scoring a lot, will be them. And I knew they were going to motorboat these guys this year. So yeah, I kind of had a feeling, man. Yeah,
I thought that was I thought it was a smart prediction at the time. Obviously, ended up being exactly right. I said Ravens versus Eagles.
It wasn't bad. That wasn't.
Yeah, bad. I don't think it was too bad of a prediction. Now, Scott, you obviously had the Eagles in the Super Bowl because we all did, and then we immediately all backtracked as fast as possible. Like, oh, this is horrible. There's no way this could be true now, even though we all had the Eagles in the Super Bowl. But now we're going to look at Super Bowl who won predictions to win the Super Bowl.
Who did I have playing the Eagles though?
Well, let's go to the tape.
Okay, sorry.
Scott, Who are you taking to win the Super Bowl?
The Miami Dolphins.
Wow.
I know.
That's the worst one of all of them. That's the
Yes.
worst prediction of the entire show. That's it.
If President Westmore in 2029 tried to appoint you to a cabinet position, they would use that prediction to prevent you from being approved by the Senate.
I'm unhireable anywhere. They're going to come back to that. You seem like a reasonable person, but you said this. Get out of my office.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's
man.
the shortest clip because you don't need more than that. That's
an all-timer. That's
especially because they played the winner.
Yeah.
First
Yeah,
ballot
they're
walk
on the
in,
other
bro.
side.
I had some pretty strong conviction on the Dolphins last year, I guess.
Now,
yeah.
like Scott,
A little bit.
I also had the Eagles in the Super Bowl, and I also took the AFC team to win. I took the Ravens to beat the Eagles. Cleve, however, did take the Eagles to win the Super Bowl the day before the season started.
Very impressive.
That is
told you,
absolutely
man,
fantastic.
I go to school with a lot of guys that are in that region. And remember when the whole season when they were going to fire, they wanted to fire their coach and all that. I was like, bro, this is like such a roller coaster of a ride for them. But I knew, like, in that first Super Bowl against the Chiefs, they were the better team because they kicked the shit out of them. He would have been the MVP of that game because I think he had 2 rushing touchdowns, whatever.
Yeah.
But I think in him, there's a picture of him sitting in the hallway with the trophy and he's smoking a cigar. I hope he makes that into a poster for himself because that was well earned. You know, I'm a Jalen Hurts fan. I'm not like a super fan of him, but like I wasn't mad that they beat the shit out of the Chiefs. So
you were amazing when we met shortly after Jalen Hurts got benched for Tua.
Yeah,
that happened. January. We met in March, like 2 months later. One of the first things you said to me when we started talking about football was how much bullshit it was that Jalen Hurts got benched for Tua. Like you've loved Jalen Hurts for a long time. You thought Jalen Hurts is good and underrated for a very long time.
Yeah,
so
he just strikes me as and we see it in his play too. He's the guy. Whether you believe it or not from him, he's a great teammate. He's a great, because anyone else would have took that, fuck that. Like, this guy comes in and gets the glory. Because, again, I don't give Tua props for coming in to save the day because Jalen got them there. He played most of the season to get them to that position. So you can't do the Nick Foles thing and show up after Wentz got you guys all these games. So, I don't kind of contribute to that. You rally you rally for a guy, but I'm like, bro, look who brought you to the dance. Don't forget the person that brought you to the dance, right? So that's why I didn't have anything against Tua as a person. I just didn't like his play, but I felt like in a big moment, instead of talking to Jalen like, hey, listen, this game is on the line. You got to step up. They're going to put another guy in. So I always felt like that chip was massive on his shoulder, bro. And now he silenced the critics. Whether he goes to another Super Bowl or not, he's a champion. And that's in the history books forever.
And I think for the Eagles, I give a lot of GMs a lot of grief because I think most of them are somewhere between just absolute stone moron and can barely tie their shoes. I don't think most of them are good at what they do. And the Eagles show why it's so important to have a good GM, right? So the team falls apart at the end of last season. I mean, just completely falls apart. Then they lose Jason Kelce, clearly one of their leaders. He retires. This offseason, they add Saquon Barkley. They draft Quinion Mitchell and Cooper DeJean with the first 2 picks to address their secondary. They signed Zach Bond in free agency to a very minimal deal, and it being probably the best free agent signing in the league, all things considered. For the money they paid him versus what they got.
They might have the number 1 and number 2 free agent signings.
Yes. And then Saquon obviously right behind it. And so having a good, sharp GM, they went from in the Super Bowl to cratering to back in the Super Bowl just like that. And it's all because of Howie Roseman. So when I give these GMs a lot of grief, it's because that is actually where it starts, is with the GM who knows what they're doing. And if you don't have that, it's just not going to happen for you.
And that was a resounding win because they kicked the shit out of those guys.
They sure did. So I added up all the points here. Clev did end up winning, of course, because he had 3 exactly dead on. Scott comes in second place because he had Derrick Henry exactly dead on. I had 0, but I did give myself 2 half points.
I think I should be in last place because of the Miami Dolphins thing. I don't think it's even debatable.
I mean, that was horrible. We had some. I can't sugarcoat it. I'm not gonna blow smoke here. Like, it was a bad pick then. It's a bad pick now.
Were you embarrassed for me as I was saying it?
Right. This isn't like, Aaron Rodgers. We thought, like, part of the reason the Dolphins pick was so bad is because we thought the Jets would be good and we knew the Bills would be good. So like, the Dolphins have to overcome all of that. Like, that's part of the reason for it. So
yeah, it's embarrassing in hindsight, but wow. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I think next year when we do this, I'm definitely avoiding the favorites at any category. I just, like, did it happen at all this year? Did a favorite win any of them?
Probably the sexy stuff.
Probably Lamar's rushing was maybe the only.
Yeah, yeah. Lamar to lead the league in rushing at quarterback.
Yeah,
and next it'll be Lamar or Jaden Daniels
and MVP. So there's 2. There's 2 because he could have. Josh kind of came in the end and got it, but we thought we all consensusly think that he won it.
Yes, but Mahomes was the favorite going into the season, not Lamar.
I mean, defending world champion, you got to give the guy at least the nod. That
so I think I think Scott's right. Aside from Lamar or Jaden Daniels leading the league in rushing, I'm not touching a favorite next year because I'm not taking Saquon to lead the league in rushing. I'm not taking Jamar Chase to lead in receiving. Like, because I'll think Justin
Jefferson. I'm going to go Tyreek
Hill.
He's playing for the battle axis this year.
Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of which, Cleve, I know we're about to lose you for most of the offseason here, at least until the draft show. Probably the next time we see you. Remember this year Tua got hurt and they had no backup in Miami to completely tank their season? Did you see who they signed to back up Tua to prevent that from happening this year?
Oh, no. No, I didn't. I only watched the first day of free season. Who they got?
They signed Zach Wilson.
Wow.
There's going to be a lot of
if Tua gets hurt, Zach Wilson has to keep them afloat.
He will.
Mike McDaniel is so fired.
I don't understand. I don't understand like how many guys within our division, and this is like a thing forever in the AFC, like they retread so many guys and coaches within those 4 teams. I don't think any other division does that. So many coaches get retreaded. So many guys just go within the division. I'm like, okay, whatever.
I don't understand how the Dolphins did not make Gardner Minshew the highest paid backup in the NFL.
Actually,
to me, it's a no-brainer
because I'm a big Gardner. Yeah, I'm a Gardner fan. So yeah.
In that scenario, I think that's system-driven stuff. Like Gardner Minshew he's not playing within whatever system you put in. He's just not.
You're right. Zach Wilson will though. Zach Wilson
100%. He will. He will. I mean, he will. But
what system are we running here? Turbo ass? Okay, yeah, I'll play within that one.
No, it's more very defined reads. That's why I think Tua's productive there is because McDaniel's offense is very quarterback friendly. I'm not saying Zach Wilson's going to do it at a high level. I'm saying he's going to be a reliable enough guy to run their system that, they feel like they have to feel like. I'm not saying I even agree with it. It's just they have to feel like it gives them a chance.
If Tua.
Yes, Paul. Yes.
If Tua misses 3 or more games next year, everybody in Miami is fired.
Oh,
Yeah.
facts. Fax machine.
Yes.
Yeah.
Get your shit together now.
Yes. I'm trying to think real quick if there's any other big free agent stuff we want to bring up with Cleve while we have him. Because Scott, we'll be discussing in detail next week.
Yeah.
Oh, Cleve, the Jets signed Justin Fields.
What? Was that today?
Yesterday.
Oh,
Justin
wow.
Fields is your new quarterback.
Yesterday.
And they gave him
Wow.
a new contract.
Yeah.
And it was really
Good for
super,
him.
super smart what they did.
Yeah.
Like super
Good for
smart.
him.
They can
Good for him.
they can get out after a year and it really will cost them nothing going forward because they put on, I think, 3 void years at the end of it. Or they can use those void years and extend him if he plays well enough. That's the guy who's going to lead the NFL in rushing for quarterbacks next year. That's him.
I'll take Lamar.
He has to put up tape.
And the thing too about this Cleve is that it's really good for the Jets because it's very binary. Either Justin Fields is good and then the Jets are good, or Justin Fields is horrible and they tank for Arch Manning.
Or Lenore Sellers or any of the other.
Sellers only a sophomore this year, right? He can't come out yet.
This will be his 3rd year away from high school. There's
okay,
a bunch.
So Sellers, Nico Yamalieva, that's a real person, Cleve. But Arch Manning, the first overall pick next year is going to be Arch Manning. Could you imagine passing on Arch Manning and he goes on to be a Manning and you draft some other asshole? Like, there's just no way any GM is doing that.
That stuff happens.
Stuff
happens. I mean, ask Randy Moss how many fucking guys they passed him, gave up, whatever. I want, before you guys go, your thoughts on the Myles Garrett thing, because we all talked about how they were trying to build the franchise around him and they just threw him an enormous bag of cash and then the rumbling stopped.
I can't believe he resigned there. I thought he was gone. Like, I didn't think there was any way he was ever going back there.
It's generational wealth, man.
Wealth.
He's got a lot of guarantees, a lot of guaranteed money. He's set up. And then of course the red wedding in San Fran where Duke goes John Wick on the entire roster.
Well, the roster,
and then your boy let Nick Bosa go. Huh?
No, they brought the Chargers let Joey Bosa go. Who went to the Bills?
Yeah,
Nick's the younger one. He's still there. Yeah. He's like one of their 3 good players left.
Yeah. Yeah, I sent you the guys the clip of Thanos like evaporating everybody from that team. It's brutal. Oh no, man.
Well, I predict the 49ers have the first overall pick next year.
They're in a complete rebuild right now. Like that shit. Hey, but you know what? Maybe it had to be done. They were in the Super Bowl a couple years ago. So they're far removed from that. So they got to scrap the whole thing now.
Yep. And as we know, this year, Brandon Ayuk did lead the league in receiving, just like Cleve predicted. All right.
On that note.
So thank you, everybody, for tuning in to one of our favorite episodes every single year, the preseason prediction review show. Next week, Scott and I will be discussing the big free agency moves in more detail, including how the signings impact the draft, which is why we kind of need all of free agency to kind of come to a stop before we could really get into it, because we want to talk about like who's in the market for what in the first round as it relates to the signings as well. Cleve will pop it in every so often throughout the offseason, next time probably for the live stream for the draft on draft night. So Cleve, any final words before your hiatus here?
Yeah, it's just as you guys know, we text each other all the time, all kinds of stuff. It's been an honor the last 2 years, Scott, to have you here with us, man. Like it's been great. You bring good energy. Dave and I Dave and I have our synergy, but now you're part of this wolf pack. So thanks for putting up with our bullshit.
It's awesome. I look forward to this.
Dave and I getting the shit like on text. It goes on forever. Like so
you two go at it.
I appreciate you being here. I appreciate you. No, that's been since we met. Like that's I love the guy. I love Dave. So I mean he knows that. But yeah, thanks for gutting this out. I know that you guys all have lives and I have a life, and we try to make this happen. Everyone in the chat, you guys always bring the energy and it's been great. So I look forward to obviously the live draft, and then I'll be popping in from here and there. I'll probably let the guys know when I'm going to be on, so I can kind of know what they're going to be talking about. But just got kind of like life stuff, get ready to graduate again. So kind of got to get all that stuff under control. So it's been a great season again, and you guys hold down the fort for political football.
Will do. Scott, any final words this week?
Thanks for saying that, Cleve. It matters, and it's good because I mean, I value this, and you guys are awesome. So nothing else from me. I'm good. We're good.
All right. Final words for me. I'll just say that it was really nice what Cleve said. What he said about Scott was exactly right, but Cleve's trying to put a good face on it. We actually are being forced by the administration to fire him. Too many DEI hires here at the show. So God. Cleve does have to go. Elon opened the feed, picked the darkest guy, said, "Get the hell out of here." So sorry, Cleve.
I sent the email. I sent the email of what I do on the show. Bullet points.
What are the 5 things you did last week? I picked the Dolphins to beat the Eagles in the Super Bowl.
What a jerk off move that is, dude. God, this fucking dumb shit.
All right. We will see everybody next week. Scott, out to everybody next week to discuss free agency. Until then, peace.